We are live on both YouTube and Twitch for once, taking advantage of Restream.io plus the changing of the Twitch pattern to allow you to broadcast to both platforms. We'll see how it goes. Figured we'd try something a little bit different tonight. Starting out with Boros Burn. We're not going to do the typical league structure. Instead, there is a play-in for mana traders. Well, I will not be able to play in the event. Obviously, people that will be playing in it are trying to qualify. I will be busy the weekend that this month's event, which will be Modern, would be. But it is a perfect opportunity to test multiple iterations of Burn without necessarily having to go through an entire league to do it. So, Boros Burn's in an interesting place. It is no longer a tier 1 deck. I think it's pretty safe to say. A lot of people are trying different iterations of things, both to counter the presence of Murktide and to counter the presence of other decks in the format. The reemergence of Devoted Druid, the re-empowering of Amulet Titan, so many other things. We'll talk about a couple different iterations. The first, not too dissimilar to normal Burn. The one big difference is, you'll still see the 20 lands, Goblin Guide, Swift Spear, Eidolon. A lot of the spells are the same. Zurgo Bell Striker. So this was a card that recently did well in one of the challenges this weekend. Late last year, we were working on variants of Boros Burn with Ragavan. And a lot of people were like, they don't want to play Ragavan, it's too expensive of a card, etc., etc. The criteria I wanted for a third creature is it had to have 2 power, it had to have a haste option, and that was pretty much it. Zurgo kind of fits that bill. Obviously, it doesn't have all the advantages of Ragavan, but it has a dash function, which is effectively what Ragavan does. It hits for 2 power, it's another 1-drop creature, etc. Kind of fits the bill of what I wanted. So we're going to try a few matches with Zurgo. But the main thing with this version is looking at Eidolon's positioning. Whether a lot of people have been cutting Eidolon from the deck, we'll take a look at Eidolon in some matches, and even in the matches where we're not playing Eidolon, we'll keep it in mind. Rest of the sideboard, pretty standard fare: Sanctifier, Path to Exile, Roiling Vortex, Smash the Smithereens, Wear Tear. I would consider this a relatively normal burn sideboard for most of the cards. The sole exceptions are Searing Blood. Now, generally, I have not considered Searing Blood a very good card in the meta. It does serve a couple functions, though. With the reemergence of Devoted Druid doing well this past weekend, there's plenty of targets in that deck to kill it. Even against decks like Underworld Breach or Jeskai Breach, Murktide, there's a lot of targets, especially in the first couple of turns before DRC gets turned on. Ragavan, obviously, where Searing Blood's a valuable card, so we'll take a look at that. Nothing too exciting about this list other than that. Second version, obviously given time that we'll play, is this version. A little bit different. The one main thing is Roiling Vortexes are in the main. This frees up some sideboard slots. Exquisite Firecraft makes it return, primarily good against Murktide, Breach, other blue deck variants such as Creativity. Allows you to power through counterspells. Another interesting tech, it's very specific. Whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller plays 2. So there's a couple of things with this. So first off, it's terrible in an Eidolon build. Or is it? Yeah, it's terrible in an Eidolon build. Kind of negates what Eidolon does. However, in a non-Eidolon build, it's pretty good against Amulet if you can drop it on turn 2. It's reasonable against Spirits and such. And it's definitely a card worth testing. So, And the other card, the one of Emrakul, I'm presuming people were running in the mill, and that's the reason Emrakul's in the sideboard. Beyond that, there's no reason to run this. But, this is one of those versions without Eidolon. It has Roiling Vortex in the main deck. frees up some sideboard slots. We'll give it a run. And finally, this is a version that kind of does the same thing that this version does, except instead of doing that, we're playing Bump in the Night as just another Lava Spike. It does have random text in some matchups. There used to be a card called Worship that saw play in the format. This would be one way to get around that. But Worship doesn't really see play anymore. That said, it's life loss, not damage. So, Leyline of the Void, actual hard graveyard hate against Murktide, Breach, etc. The rest of the sideboard, not a huge fan of Deflecting Palm, but gotta get in, testing somewhere. Smash the Smithereens, good against Hammer, good against Chalice, good against any type of artifact deck you might run into, Urza Saga, Hammertime, both blue and red affinity, etc. Exquisite Firecraft, once again, I hate losing to blue decks. Great card to have access to. So, main things in today's boot camp, we're looking at Eidolon versus no Eidolon, the presence of Exquisite Firecraft, whether cards like Strict Proctor, or I believe the other one option against Amulet is something like Tunneling Ingus, whether those cards are relevant, and it's kind of where we're at. Rest of Burn's pretty solidly fixed. Really not a whole lot specific to say about Burn other than those are the cards that we're testing. A lot of the arguments right now in the Burn Discord and stuff center around Eidolon, no Eidolon, etc. So, said, let's get into some matches and see how we do. Currently pairing in a league, or pairing in qualifier series. So, okay, we have no drop frames, everything looking good with Restream. Alright, we are paired. Create insert waiting for change decks. We want Burn 1. Create. No, do not allow watchers. Waiting for MWRG LC. Waiting for MWMRG LC. Create. Alright, we found the right opponents. Let's play some Magic. Alright, wish our opponent good luck. Did unfortunately lose the die roll. One lander, this is pretty an instant mulligan. At least following. Yeah, this hand's decent on the draw. Turn 1. Looks like we're immediately getting paired into Murktide. Okay. So, I think we're going to lead on Swift Spear here. The reason is I expect whatever we played this turn to die. So maybe I'm getting too cute with what? I didn't really want to give them a land trigger and let them do whatever. So immediately get paired into Murktide, possibly Breach instead. Oh no, Teamer. It looks like we might get a Tarmogoyf here. Nope, Renin ticks. Buys back a land. They've done themselves a ton of damage. Seems like good for the burn team. So, land, Swizzle Spear. Should have gotten Goblin Guy down. So many punts, so little time. We're opponent to 13. Okay, does our opponent do? They play a fetch land, tick up, targeting nothing, which I find interesting. Our opponent is creativity. So yes, we do nothing here. So we need to hold a bolt for them having a dude. Because otherwise we just automatically pretty much lose to Archon. Yep. Okay, do they just go for it here? Okay, just grab a land. Dash Zurgo. Looks like our opponent is trying to set up. Okay, they have Leyline Binding in their deck, sure. Hey, MTG Mob, thanks for subscribing. Greatly appreciate that. Alright, opponent's got a Leyline Binding, that's whatever. I presume they're going after Zurgo? Yeah. Okay. Opponent goes to 6. It's possible I should just be going all in and trying to kill them as quickly as possible. Burn versus Living End. Strictly depends on how many sideboard copies of Leyline Sanctity the Living End player is running. If they're running Leyline Sanctity, they are favored. If they're not, it's a relatively close matchup. So opponent could get us with Spell Pierce here-ish. I'm just going to let this happen. The reason being is post-combat, unless they can deal with 2 creatures, we're going to kill them. So opponent's going to draw an Archon. Block. They have no, they can only Leyline Binding one thing, so they need. Okay. Do they have another removal spell? They do not. Alright. But it's a close matchup, game 1, and then game 2 and game 3, they are heavily favored because of the presence of Leyline. Flip mob. So, it's a close matchup overall, but it really boils down to Leyline Sanctity. Both decks have similar speeds. The presence of Gemstone Cavern affects things. Actually playing sideboard Graveyard Hate like Leyline of the Void or Rest in Peace helps the burn side, but generally burn sideboards haven't included those lately. So if you want to have a better matchup against Living End, Dredge, I would board actual hard Graveyard Hate like Leyline or Rest in Peace. The presence of Wear Tear can help, but can be awkward because they are a turn 3, turn 4 combo deck themselves. So it's die roll dependent. Leyline Sanctity plays a factor. Graveyard Hate by Burn plays a factor. So close matchup, I would say slight edge toward blue at Living End. So, but that's also possible. So. Overall, it's a close-ish matchup, but not in Burn's favor. All right. You're sideboarding against... I don't know that I like any of these cards. No. Vortex is kind of middling. Hey, Wayne Cook, thanks for the follow. Alright. Honestly, outside of Searing Blaze, I don't know if there's any cards we want to board out. And don't know if there's really any cards we want to board in. So maybe 2 Blaze out, 2 Roiling Vortex in. Call it a game. Unfortunately, I don't have that option set up, but I will show you the deck list here in a sec. The current version we are playing is the first of 3 tonight, hopefully. And that is basically just traditional burn with Zurgo in place of a budget version of Ragavan and a couple of Searing Bloods. So, this hand is a 1-lander, can't really keep it. Mulligan. This hand has all the lands, not exactly where we want to be, but back. That leads on Jetmir's Garden. So we're just going, okay, well that certainly helps, although we can't count on it staying in play because they probably have a plethora of removal spells, Fire Ice, Bolts, Leyline Binding. Yep, Bolt, sure. So we just play land and pass. Planning on Boros charming them if they crack their fetch to play around. Spell Pierce. When it cracks their fetch. Unshockingly. Don't really fear land destruction out of them or Blood Moon, so no reason to get... They have all 5 colors in their deck, so greatly appreciate that. Yeah, I'm streaming on both tonight, so the plan moving forward is to stream every other week on YouTube for MTG Nexus and see what happens. don't really want to play into a Spell Pierce here. I guess this doesn't matter. So if they fetch here, get another fetch to go for the combo, then... What is this? Fire Ice something? Just gonna let this go. Still need to hold up Bolt in case they go for the combo on creativity. Okay, so the current deck that I'm playing, I can pull up a variant of it. Copy. Paste. You can use whatever red fetch lands you need, but that's basically the list we're playing. If our opponent wants to Spell Pierce us, I really don't care here. Downside, obviously, you're welcome. So, go ahead and go face. Swizzle Spear. Lava Spike. Lava Spike puts you to 1. This forces you to not have anything on your board. So in order to combo, you need both a Dwarven Mine and a Creativity to punish this line. So, leaves you with nothing in play, so... Oh, I completely understand. I've certainly taken lengthy breaks from Magic myself over the years, so... Mill's a pretty solid, reasonable choice in the meta. It's not a tier 1 deck, but it definitely has some positive matchups. And it got a lot better with the Yorion banning, so... Because there aren't too many people playing... Are you serious? Okay. Our opponent had exactly what they needed. Okay. That said, we still have outs. We still have 4 Boros Charms in our, or 3 Boros Charms in our deck that are just automatic death. And we draw 1. That said, if they have Spell Pierce, they get us, but whatever. So they're going to 1. Oh. Why would you... They have Turn the Earth? Oh. Okay. Nature's Claim. Wow. What's it like to have the God draw, opponent? It's just to 5. Okay. I don't like this play here at all. Unless they're going for another creativity, I don't like this play whatsoever. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's game. Since they showed us Nature's Claim, do we even want Vortex? All right. Yes, I'd like to play first. His hand is okay. Get to go Zurgo into Eidolon plus Lava Spike. Hopefully that'll be good enough. This puts a lot of pressure on our opponent, so. So now the next choice is, do we want to play Eidolon before combat or post-combat? The reasoning, play around Bolt on Eidolon. That said, either way we get 2 points of damage. So I think we go ahead and attack. See what our opponent does. They're fetching, which probably indicates bolts. Yep. Okay. Go ahead and go to combat here. Do you have a second bolt? You do not. Okay, Lava Spike you. Take 2 ourselves and like it. And we cast our second Eidolon. This is a good test to see if Eidolon's still reasonable in this matchup. Okay, can't imagine our opponent would have anything here. We have Fire Ice and they didn't cast it. Interesting. That is a bold decision, Cotton. Because us taking damage from Eidolon really doesn't matter in this matchup since they live and die so much. Okay. Opponent going to 6. Really? Okay. That said, once again, they have Transmogrify or Creativity. We're in a world of trouble. Otherwise, they can't cast anything right now, so... They pitch an Archon and a Scalding Tarn. Okay. Opponent knows we have nothing. Because if I had something outside of Path to Exile, they'd already be dead. So this probably indicates they have Transmogrify or whatchamacallit. So no reason to block because once again, we're on Boros Charm or Bust again. So. And we draw a bolt. So we are dead. Eidolon was okay that game. Was a little bit middling. It did deal them some damage, but you'll have that sometimes. Alright, create, waiting for Ticketed. T-I-K, Ticketed, great. Alright, now we got our proper opponent on to match number 2. Alright, no lander, pretty easy mulligan. Opponent is on the play though. Not much, Aquarius. How you doing tonight? Alright, 2-lander. What are we pitching here? Zurgo. I guess we're putting a Screw the Critics back. Ah, Burn Mirror, looks like. I guess we run Zurgo out there. If they want to bolt it, they can. I don't really care right now. Instead, they decide to bolt face. Sure. They got an Eidolon. Nope. No Eidolon, no Searing Blaze. Okay. Pass turn. Boros Charm, presumably. Yep. 13 and leg it. Looks like our opponent's on the all burn plan, which is interesting. They could play Eidolon here and get us a little bit. But looks like they're going to play Riftbolt Suspended. And we pass. Indeed, Sundering Titan. So, what's up, Dale? At least I believe that's Dale. Yeah, that's probably Dale. Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Dale. Nice, Aquarius. What deck were you playing? Your counter burn deck? So the reason we're playing Zurgo is people were asking for a budget version of Ragavan, and I happened to see somebody played Zurgo in a list that did well this weekend, so feels like we're going to get Lightning Helix. Nope, Skull Cracked. Sure. One goes to 8. We're just going to hold up Bolt here. Going to 7. So we know our opponent's drawing a Searing Blaze. So is there any combination of cards that kill us here? We go to 7. The opponent would need land, Boros Charm, Searing Blaze to kill us. Okay, that's a Searing Blaze. Do you have the Boros Charm? No, but I guess you could have Lightning Helix, perhaps? Opponent drawing Skewer. Bolt you, and win match number 1. Nice. Do we even want anything in the mirror match? Path and Searing Bloods are the only possibilities. Definitely want these 4 Eidolons out of my deck. Sanctifier is just too damaging. Vortex, not really. None of these cards make sense. So 2 Searing Blood, 2 Path. Feels like we're overloaded on creature hate. Just with Zurgo Bell Striker in the main, Glory Bringer on the side. I don't know that it has, but there was a list this weekend that did well. I think it's kind of a stand-in for Ragavan, honestly. It does a lot of the things you want Ragavan to do, except, obviously, the actual card advantage thing. But it's a 2-power creature on 1 that can also dash. So, kind of fits the bill if you're on a more budget version of Burn and don't feel like dropping the whatever it is for Ragavan. And if Ragavan ever gets banned, it's a perfectly solid replacement. So. Alright, so we have a creature heavy draw, 4 lands. Don't think we can keep this one. Creature heavy draw again, but we at least have that, so we'll try it. Pretty much. Commercial you like, I take it? When the wifey's watching the Super Bowl and you're playing Magic. Who's winning? Ah.
And your lovely Chiefs went doink on a field goal.
They're not really my Chiefs. I'm just rooting for them because it's the lesser of 2 evils. So opponent does have Sanctifier in their deck, which is whatever. Because it's the final... Okay, path you. Opponent taking extra damage. This is exactly why you don't want to play it in the mirror match. Core Firewalker, different story. Core Firewalker is actually good in the mirror match. Sanctifier, not so much. So we know our opponent has Spike Skewer. So they clearly kept that hand on the back of, at least in part, on the back of Sanctifier and Vec. Opponent goes that. Do you start killing my creatures, or do you just go face? Nope, you have an Eidolon. So I kind of feel bad for my opponent, but after the whitewashing or good fortune and good play our creativity opponent had round one, I feel less bad. So Fits and Red deck wins as well as Gruul Aggro. Okay. So what does my opponent do? Alright. Lava Spike, ooh, Lava Spike, ba-dum, bum, bum. Lava Spike, ooh, Lava Spike. Okay, so where's the Skewer the Critic's going? Is it going face, or is it going at one of my creatures? It goes at one of my creatures. So, do they risk swinging in here? And they do, so they're dead. Someone either goosed my wife, or it was a good play. Ah. And we win. Nice. Alright, make sure we have no extra matches going right now. Yes, my wife's watching. I'm just hearing her reactions to the game and occasionally asking her for updates. So. Alright. Alright, so 19. Okay, so we have recorded both. Cool. Never know when you have this many tabs open if you have everything going or not. We'll play one more with the Zurgo list. We do want to get some time in to test the other two builds. So.
You got plenty of time. Super Bowl's only started second quarter.
Apparently I have permission from my wife to stream for a while tonight. Yay! Didn't even ask for it, but good to know I have it. In other words, she's distractified by the Super Bowl, so. Oh, I was gonna say there's this thing called halftime. You'll definitely be in here to annoy me at that point. Although I think it's Rihanna.
Who cares?
No. Yeah, if you hear her screaming in agony, it's because the Eagles are doing something stupid.
No, my TV just restarted.
Why?
I don't know. It just did it again.
Is it power or internet?
The TV's shutting off and restarting.
Oh. Maybe it's being taken over by gremlins.
Matrix is messed up. I'm glad I missed all that. Granted, it was only 30 seconds of the game, but still.
Actually, I'm wondering. Oh, the internet's still up. Interesting.
Oh yeah, it just my matrix is messed up.
The Matrix is messed up. Oh, you'll still watch the game one way or another.
I love my husband. I love my.
I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, Aquarius. I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my wife.
Wait, that was heard?
I don't know if it was heard, but he was the one last week going when I was going, I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my wife.
I feel the love.
Alright, let's
Oh.
try another match, because that was taking way too long.
You kicked in your butt.
Yeah, I agree. It's like having a weird off-screen character in a sitcom that you rarely, if ever, see.
Who, me?
Yes.
I'm gonna miss a commercial.
You're not missing much. I'm waiting to play a match.
Yes, I don't understand. Okay, now what about what, huh?
Dale said you're like the off-screen character in a sitcom, which you hear but rarely see.
You're right.
Still can't see you.
I don't care. I'm not trying to be on screen.
Happy wife, happy life. Nothing rhymes with happy husband.
As long as you're happy, 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 then we're good. If you're happy, 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 then I'm a happy, happy wife.
Mm-hmm. Still wondering what's taking these pairings so long.
It's probably because we've got how many devices going right
No, it has nothing to do with the internet. It has to do with the matches that are...
Okay, good.
We provide our own entertainment during... That didn't mean come back, hon.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said we provide our own entertainment while waiting for matches.
So question, are you happy, happy, happy?
Sure.
That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're annoyed. What are the comments?
I don't know at the moment. I'm waiting for a match to pop up.
Whoo, pairing successful.
Okay. Look for a match from your opponent, Night Hunter 01, with your name, waiting for Duskblader.
Night Hunter. Sounds cool.
There's always some interesting
Names.
names.
I know.
Ren and Stimpy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. You're just feeding the monster, bro. You're just feeding the monster.
Thank you, guys. All right,
Go
back
watch
to the
your
game.
Go watch your game.
Oh, it's not on yet. But so,
Your
your kicker or the Chiefs kicker went to kick the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the Eagles, it looked like he got kicked in the gut.
Ow.
Yeah, he went to block it, and it seriously looked like they made contact with his foot after the ball was kicked.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Sounds like it. Okay. Where did my opponent go? Where did they go? Waiting for them to post something so we can play a match.
You are weird.
Yeah, so well. Yeah, I'll create it just in case. Technically, my opponent's supposed to do it, but... my opponent was lazy and just waited for me to do it. Whatever. That works. Alright, back for match number 3. It's possible. Alright, no lander. Pretty easy mulligan. 2 lander. So, okay. Real question is, what are we getting rid of here? So curve is Goblin Guide Eidolon, Goblin Guide Searing Blaze, Goblin Guide Swift Spear, 1 drop if we draw 1. What card does not fit in this strategy? Blaze deals with a creature. Boros Charm does the most damage. So we're keeping... Is it just Ditch Swift Spear? It's actually a tough one. I think we'll ditch... We're up against Gonti's Machinations? So we're up against a burn variant? Okay.
Maybe somebody will be named Spy Balloon.
Spy Balloon?
Yep.
Goblin Rune Blaster? Alright, we've got some interesting things going on here. Pass turn. So this is pay 2 energy. Okay. So our opponent can sack Machinations. They're bolting our Eidolon, which is fine. Has Rune Blaster. I say ideally we'd want to draw a land here. So our opponent's at a virtual 12. Bumping the Knight. Okay, they're just some type of weird budget burn deck, it looks like. Not sure why the Rune Blaster, but it does fit their overall strategy. Nice.
I like this game for a Super Bowl.
So the opponent's back to 8, or at a virtual 8. Okay, sure. Hopefully they'll give us a land to trigger Searing Blaze next turn. We really should sacrifice their Machinations. We have no Skullcracks or anything up right now. So... okay, triggers. You're drawing Lightning Bolt. Okay. Skewering our thing, that's fine. Alright, and pass turn. Our opponent did goof a little bit there. They should have sacrificed Machinations. Okay, never mind. Well, good for them. So now we're going to have to bolt Rune Blaster, it looks like. This isn't actually 2-man queues. This is Mana Traders qualifying series. So bolt that. Other than this match, we've played against mostly tier deck. Well, we've played against Burn and Creativity. Right now, we're just playing against a slightly weird version of Burn. Good chance we're dead next turn. So, pass. Well, last match was Burn, but it was traditional Burn. The thing you have to consider, though, bro, is a lot of people that play the Mana Traders series also might play other formats, and Burn is one of the decks that you can just kind of pick up and play without there being any real learning curve to it. So Sanctifier is kind of middling against their deck. Could bring in Wear Tear, or is Gonti's Machinations an enchantment? Pretty sure it's an enchantment. Yeah, it's an enchantment. Okay. Let's bring in the Searing Bloods. Don't think we really like any of the other cards in our sideboard. It's not like they're going to have Sanctifier or Core Firewalker, so we don't need to bring in Path. Well, nowadays when people refer to 5-lander, easy mulligan, his hand's pretty reasonable, keep, back, that one. But yeah, nowadays when people refer to Rakdos Burn, it's literally just like bump in the night. You don't really see Gonti's Machinations or anything weird like that played too much anymore. So Goblin Guide, go. Our opponent did mulligan to 5, and we just undid part of their mulligan. Yay, go us. One's got a fetch land, and alright, presumably Gonti's Machinations is what they mulligan to. They have Thoughtseize in their deck. Why would you bring in Thoughtseize against Burn? Like, maybe they have something else going on over there that there's a reason they're playing Thoughtseize? Definition of cards not to bring in against Burn. What's up, NVL? Been a bit since I've seen you. Then again, has been a bit since I've streamed on the channel, huh? Goblin Rune Blaster. And opponent does nothing. Interesting. Bolts or Goblin Guide? Okay. Yeah, I don't understand what our opponent has going on over there. Like their deck seemed reasonable game one, but you don't leave in or bring in Thoughtseize against Burn as a pseudo Burn deck. It just makes no sense. Looks like they're just trying to make Gonti's Machinations work, which is fine, but kind of weird. Alright, I think we just click submit. Richie, if you're still in chat, the reason why we're not playing a league is Mana Trader's qualifying. I don't have a ton of time to do it throughout the week. And I wanted to test like 2 or 3 different builds of Burn from this past weekend. So I don't want to have to grind through like 3 leagues to try 3 different decks. Is the primary reason why we're not playing leagues tonight. So that said, we might only get through 2 of the variants. I don't know for sure. But is this going to be a Gonti's Machinations or another Thoughtseize? Hey, Biaffable, thanks for the follow. So it is a Gonti's Machinations. So our opponent is basically guaranteed to get some life off of that. Whenever you lose life for the first time, gain an energy. So it has nothing to do with what we do, has to do with what they do. Opponent is fetching basic mountain Searing Blaze. Would really like them to play an Eidolon or something stupid here. Okay, they have Goblin Guide, that also qualifies as something stupid. Rune Blaster, that also definitely qualifies as something stupid. Okay, opponent did give us a land. So, Searing Blood. This is effectively a wash. Okay. They show me Goblin Guide. Yay. Okay. They go to 9. We have all the lands in the world we could possibly ever want. So opponent plays a GG. So we're at 7-point swing here, potentially. Okay, they reveal a land and a non-land for once. Lava Spike. I'm presuming this Goblin Guide's gonna die. So swing. Swing, bada bada swing, bada bada swing, bada bada swing. Please don't give them a land. And we give them a land. Alright, so Lava Spike. Put you to 6. Okay, so one of their cards in hand is a land. Trigger first. They give us a land. Trigger that. They give us a Rift Bolt. So we'd go to 10. So we put them to 3. They go back to 6. We go to 10, 8. Awkward. I should have fetched in response to that second trigger. So I don't really want to draw a Rift Bolt. What's up, Biaffable? How are you? So go ahead and I think we do nothing here. Actually, I have no Sacred Foundries to fetch anyway, so I'm drawing that Rift Bolt regardless. Okay, opponent suspends a Rift Bolt. Need something else to... Opponent should sack now. Just in case, because you never know if I have a second bolt. Yeah, good call by our opponent. Bolt your face. And we draw another land. Not ideal. So we just have to helix one of these goblin guides. If they want to bolt their own dude, I'm cool with that. So we're going to 6 and then 4. We know one of their cards in hand is a land. We don't know what their other one is. Alright, so Rift Bolt face. Yep. Get another burn spell. Looks like you do. Oh, seriously? Lava Dart? I mean, it gets the job done. But that was a weird match. Opponent playing a lot of subpar cards, but still got there largely on the back of Machinations. And doesn't help when you draw this many lands. You mean Bolt with the mountain? And then, oh, never mind. I got what you mean. Lava Spike and then Helix. Yeah, that probably would have been the correct. I kept forgetting that both of my Sacred Foundries were in my hands, so... We definitely punted there, but I don't know that would have mattered here. I still think we would have been dead. Because even if we didn't fetch, they would have had the Lava Dart to flash back to kill us, so... It's close either way. Alright, so... Switching decks now. We're going to be doing a quick rundown on this variant. Actually, do I want to do this one? Yeah, we'll try the Rolling Vortex in the main one, just because. So, submit. So, Beach Boy with a name. Trying something new, but with Swiss Spear has to be strictly better than Goblin Rune Blaster. Yeah, I have to agree with you there, MVL. I'm gonna play a league now after. No, unfortunately, we're just doing Mana Trader Series tonight. So, other than the last match, we have played against two meta decks, Burn and Creativity. Generally, people are trying their best in these qualifiers, so it's a little bit more relaxed than trying to play League sometimes. Okay, apparently my opponent also does not want to create a thing. Open match from... What is it with people not wanting to create? We just wait for... One lander on the draw. One lander on the draw again. Put back one of the vortexes. We are in the first match with the whatchamacallit variant, the Rolling Vortex main variant. We mulliganed to 6, kept this hand on the draw against Flooded Strand Go. So, not entirely sure what we're up against. Possibly, could be any number of decks with Flooded Strand. Alright, Ledger Shredder, that probably indicates either Breach or Murktide. So the opponent's going to go Ledger Shredder into Bobble. Yep. Okay. Pitching what? Pitching Bobble. Okay, I get to see the top card of our library. I'm perfectly fine making this trade. We get to get their Ledger Shredder off the table. And another Ledger Shredder. Opponent gets to connive again. Opponent notably doing a very good job playing around 4 points of burn here. Or 3-point burn spells, I should say. So. And that's not to say, MVL, that they weren't playing Swiss Spear in their deck. Maybe they just didn't see it in 3 games. It is a possibility. Rune Blaster is a bit cute, but I'll just lets that go. It's interesting. Do they let a second copy of Rolling Vortex go? I have Spell Snare. Okay. And not ideal to... Don't really want to give them multiple connives here. So, Unholy Heat, Bolden Resolves, I guess we try it. They have Spell Snare gets us, as does Spell Pierce. So, that puts us to 5. It goes to 4. We're taking 4, which is ouchie. Okay. With a whole lot of conniving going on. Okay, puts us to 6. You have Counterspell, you have Counterspell, more power to you. Of course you do. So now we have 1 draw at, yeah, we're dead. Okay. Really no way to play around that. We just bring in the Paths and the Firecrafts. Go down. Vortexes, they seem pretty garbage in the matchup. That's not good. Yeah, his ankle was jacked up coming into the game, so...
Oh, he grabbed him by his ankle.
Ow. Alright, yes, I'd like to play first. His hand is alright. It's a burn heavy hand. So, Suspend Rough Bolt, pass. So... Opponent plays Monkey Go. This is kind of awkward. Like, we really want to kill Ragavan, but at the same time, our hand's not really built to deal with creatures and stuff, so... Alright, that was supposed to be red mana. There we go. Let the monkey do monkey things. Cast Ledger Shredder into Bobble. Okay, so Spell Pierce is going to be annoying no matter what they have. Goblin guy's just not good here. This is the problem with the burn heavy hand against Murktide, is just, I mean, that's the plan we've committed to, but it just doesn't feel good. Life loss control, my bad. I have not updated my terminology for Aspiring Spike circa 2022. Opponent going bonkers here with their draws, so. Put it going to 5. That's a pretty brass move. Okay, the hit is for 5. Hopefully they steal like a land off the top of the deck. They already know what they're getting with. Oh, of course. Worst case scenario, they get Lightning Helix. Cool. That's why people don't like leaving Lightning Helix in against Murktide. I think at this point we've just lost, so. Well, we can't play around Spell Snare, we can't play around Spell Pierce. So 2, 5, 6. My wife attempting to count from the other room and has no idea why I was counting. So despite all the shenanigans, if our opponent doesn't have Bolt or hit a Bolt off of our deck, we have a chance here. Okay, they hit Path Exile, which does nothing. I mean, we can hit Boros Charm, but the odds that it resolves are very low, so. Technically, this resolves, and Goblin God resolves and hits them. We have a chance, but. And our opponent discarded another monkey. So, they have a Bolt, sure, or Unholy Heat. Alright, Murktide, ladies and gentlemen. A matchup that's already rough and gets even worse when you have main deck Inspired Advantage. Or not Inspired Advantage, Roiling Vortex. So, definitely a point against that build for the deck, and probably a point in favor of Eidolon. So far we've played with the first version against Creativity. Ironically, we lost that one. We beat the Burn Mirror. lost to Gonti's Machinations, Runeblaster Burn, and then lost to Murktide. Early indications so far, definitely want Eidolon against Murktide, or Eidolon over Inspiring Vantage in the main deck at least. Zurgo Bell Striker was okay. I mean, it kind of served the purpose that Ragavan did as a third 1-drop in the deck. It's not terribly exciting, but it was fine. But yeah. Island is too powerful, needs to be banned. Indeed. Island needs to be banned. Indeed. That's why we have the exquisite firecrafts. They're supposed to cure everything, right? All right. We're up against the Helpful Miner. M-I-N-E-R, not the other version. So. We'll give them a couple seconds to decide if they want to put up a thing, but it's been like anything else. We've been the one putting up all of the yeah, just move it along. And create, because our opponents are lazy. Or oh, is Mahomes still out?
Yeah.
Game's probably over then.
They might be able to get him to come back the second half, but there's only 40-some seconds in this half. He got hurt in the last 2 minutes.
Gotcha.
But he was grimacing hard.
Well, he was already hurt going into that game to begin with, so.
With a high sprain, and basically they think he re-injured it.
And makes you wonder if his opponent... Well, I didn't see the play, but makes you wonder if the player that hit him was trying to do it deliberately.
He only grabbed the one leg.
Ah.
Brought him down and basically laid on that leg for a second as they were...
Ow. Okay. Apparently our opponent doesn't want to play against us. We're too powerful of a mage. This is the downside of not playing leagues, I suppose. Just the dead time between matches somewhat. Come on. Hopefully everybody is doing well tonight. It's been a minute since we've been streaming on YouTube and Twitch, so figure we'd give it a run, see what happens. But also kind of a weird night to stream because of the Super Bowl and all that, so apparently my opponent doesn't want to play Magic. That's not good. Oh, that's never a good sign. I'm guessing the Eagles are winning.
Yeah. And because Mahomes got hurt, the Eagles got possession and they're like 35 yards from the touchdown, like 15 seconds or something like that.
Gotcha. Can be.
She's having all the timeouts now.
Super Bowl updates brought to you by my wife. Sorry, no other sponsors on the channel. Oh. I hope my opponent... Peekaboo.
Mahomes is currently smiling on the sidelines now.
Ah. Well, that's good. You that bored?
I don't care about the halftime show.
Currently being held up by my opponent not wanting to play Magic, apparently.
It's a proud of you for multitasking.
Yeah, I'm not doing it particularly well.
I know. But you read a lot faster than me.
Well, the problem is I'm screwing up gameplay as a result of multitasking, so... Where your mind went with that, I don't want to know.
I was trying to think if I could figure out a cheer for you.
No. Just
I
no.
realized I couldn't. That's why my...
Oh, thank the Lord for small miracles. Alright.
Hello. Oh, you're not doing the boom boom matching, are you?
No.
Oh, that's so
Neo,
sad.
thanks for the follow. Like how it says I lost a match even though we didn't play the match, so whatever. I guess they don't have the word draw in this thing. Oh, right, I forgot to leave this match. Alright. You're trying to follow, you're gonna get... Because I've been flipping screens all night long, so...
I see. I just watch you go... Clickety click click click.
Alright. I'm your opponent. Hack. Okay then. H-A-Q-E. Used to presume that's hack.
Maybe it's Shaq. Maybe it's Shaq's nickname.
Yeah, no. Alright. Let's see if our opponent will be a little bit faster than some of the other ones. Come on, opponent. Is it really that hard to hit click?
Yes. What are they clicking?
On a match that they signed up for?
Maybe they're distracted by the halftime show.
Then don't click play a match.
I know. Maybe their wife called them to go get them water. Okay, I'm leaving. I don't like that look.
Mm-hmm. I am not sure what is going on with match pairing right now. Second match in a row that we're just kind of twiddling on our thumbs. So for those of you who don't understand what's going on here, So Mana Traders has their series. We get paired against a match, and then you go to tournament practice room, find your opponent, and play against them. This is now the second opponent in a row that just has decided they don't feel like showing up to play Magic that they signed up for. So, kind of frustrating, honestly. So how's everybody's weekend going? You guys also watching, guys and girls also watching the Super Bowl, or what you up to? So, the downside of doing things live, you run into situations where, you know, this happens. Aletha sign while watching Facebook Reels. What is Aletha signing? Alright, well. Try it one more time. But
Hey, they do the Daytona next week.
Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, listening to Aletha sigh while watching Facebook Reels. Got it. You got a new desk to boot? Okay. Nope. We're not playing against Get Her Done, so... Alright, we'll try one more. Hopefully we'll get a better cue this time. Downside of live Magic, sometimes the snafus happen. How to make it instantly make your wife cringe. Start using a southern accent.
A very bad one.
It's supposed to be.
Oh,
I didn't actually live in the South like you did for 14 years. Besides, we could always get you good and tired and let your drawl come out.
It don't come out so much anymore.
Oh, it still does every once in a while.
Not so much anymore. I don't hear it no more.
Maybe it only comes out when you're snoring.
I don't snore.
So it was just a buzzsaw in the bed next to me this morning?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was sleeping.
I know.
That's not nice.
You were sleeping very soundly.
I am never talking to you again while you are recording.
Why is that? Old one kept injuring me with pieces flicking off. That's not good. Oh man, the traders, you are so slow tonight. It's all fun and games to make fun of me, but as soon as you bring the wife into the mix, you get in the doghouse, so. What?
I'm talking to myself.
Oh, so it's just a coincidence you're audible enough to be on
I
stream.
was not trying to be audible.
Okay. Well, you are now?
I did that time.
And usually my doghouse is the couch cushions pulled out and laid flat on the floor.
That's not a doghouse. That's when I take over the bed.
Equipped mine with an HVC and a full-size bed. Nice. Didn't know you had enough room. Well, you always have your son's room to lay down in if necessary, or the couch. I don't really have that luxury. Our one-bedroom apartment really isn't big enough to have a spare doghouse.
You're not in the daggum doghouse. You haven't been in the doghouse since we've been married.
Oh, I would argue a few times with that one.
I didn't deliberately kick you out of bed.
No, it just coincidentally happens.
Exactly. That doesn't mean you're in the doghouse. It means I fell asleep several hours before you. Let me guess. They can still hear me.
Oh, of course, but it's Dale commenting about certain sleeping quarters are more dangerous than others. Because you never know what happens in some of the rooms.
Not the truth.
Careful, Dale, you'll give your wife flashbacks. Oh, come on tonight. I don't think we're talking about the same thing, honey. Oh. Sorry, Aletha.
What?
Dale said he already got an oh my.
Love ya, Letha.
Alright, so we're up against the last fish. Hopefully they show up? What?
I do not like her.
Who?
Rihanna.
Oh. Good thing you clarified that.
Oh. No, I love Aletha.
Ah.
So much better than several of my sisters.
My opponent created a game and somebody else got in there, so hopefully they will leave and create another one. Alright, we'll let them do their thing. Something about if she ever catches her stepson doing that again, he's getting the cat spray bottle.
That flashback.
Like I said, I don't think we were on the same...
No, we were not.
Alright, finally after who knows how long we get paired against the last fish after our last two opponents didn't want to show up. So, alright. This hand is reasonable, no creatures, but fairly reasonable overall. We have a bunch of castable spells, usually probably lead on Riftbolt into either Boros Charm or Searing Blaze, depending on what our opponent is doing. Pass to our opponent here. See what we're up against. We are about to get scammed. Maybe? Yep, we are about to get scammed indeed. Alright, so change of plans. We're going to have to Rift Bolt plus Searing Blaze, our opponent's opening salvo here, and then play a game of Magic, I suppose, so you can top deck better. This is really like a 1.5 for 1 for us. You know, obviously 3 points to our opponent's face would have been nice, but getting their infinite damage off the battlefield is definitely a priority, so. Alright, just pass. No reason to play anything here. Shizo, Death Storehouse. Playing with an awkward draw beyond their opening big bomb. So we could play Swizzle Spear here, which I guess we will, but it's just dying because they clearly have a hand of nothing but removal. But yep, bolt, sure. It's a bolt that's not going in our face, so opponent's at 10, we have 9 points of damage. Swing, bada bada swing, bada bada swing, bada bada swing. Okay, so they were waiting on a monkey, waiting to have some monkey business until we tap low. Okay, makes sense. They get Roiling Vortex, which I don't think they want to play. Just hazarding a guess. Sure. Which one of my cards would you like? They're all the same. They all do 3 damage to your face. Alright. What you gonna do? Alright, so I think we just empty our hand. Risk Monkey hitting something that we care about. I think the only card in our deck that would matter at this point would be the other copy of Lightning Helix. Everything else is pretty live against them. So. You know, other than that one weird burn matchup, we've at least played against probably more tier decks than if we played leagues. So there are a few cards here that if we crack, we can't do anything with. specifically skewered the critics, and I guess that's it. So we should crack one of these. Draw a mountain, so yay for lands. Burn is fine, Neo. It's not... It's moderately well positioned. It's not good. It's a dog in a lot of the big matchups right now. It's a dog. It's a slight dog to Murktide. It's a huge dog to Amulet. It has an okay scam and creativity matchup. And... yeah. So our opponent's going to 1, presumably to cast this Rift Bolt. Okay, yep. So... okay, we drew Boros Charm, which will end the game. Which one of these would you like to end the game with? Lightning Helix. Alright, so we definitely want Sanctifier in deck. We definitely want Path to Exile. Vortex is a weird one. So, on the play, I could see leaving it in. But generally when they do the scam thing or evoke and then rebirth their elementals, it's on turn 1 anyway. So probably want to board these out for this game. And then... Helix, Searing Blaze... I think we board out a Skewer just because it can be so awkward sometimes. This hand is pretty terrible, admittedly. 4 lands. I think we have to mulligan this against the Grief Thoughtseize deck. Seems like a good plan. Back a Searing Blaze and hope we don't get scammed. Opponent is mulliganing pretty aggressively though, so... Getting our opponent to decide on their mulligan here. Okay, so they decided their 5-card hand. And no, Goblin Guide's alright in this situation though. Obviously we don't want to give them lands, but we have a Spyro. Will be a Searing Blaze target at some point, if we ever draw lands. Okay. Dashing Monkey, perhaps? Collective Brutality. That is definitely a Magic card. So we are stuck on 1 land. Looks like our opponent's going to go land Spyro. Nope, Voidwalker. Okay, would love to draw a fetch land or just a land period here. Goblin Gun is not the card we were looking for. Okay, opponent will have an Undying Malice. That is not a playable land though, fortunately. So it's good to know about for Voidwalker, but opponent going to have an Obnixilis on the top of their deck. That's terrifying. Daylight come and we bolt your face. Hey you. It's possible I should have continued to hold a path here, but okay, suspend Riftbolt. Gotta make sure not to cast Lightning Helix until it's absolutely necessary. So opponent will be putting us to 6 here. They have Terminate in hand. So we know basically all their hand. I think that should cinch the game. Unless they have Fatal Push, which doesn't seem likely. And just in time because they are going to play up Obnixilis next turn and do a lot of nasty things. So, Skewer, GG. So this build we've played against Murktide and Scam. So I like how Hack can come back and play other games, but couldn't play against us. Funny how that works. Alright, we're gonna drink water while we're waiting on the queue. So we are up against... Waiting for Tomko. MTGO 303. It's going decent, Sweet Liberties. Had some interesting testing so far. So, sure, opponent, good luck. We will be joining them in mulliganing here. I just can't keep no lander. This hand's pretty reasonable overall. It's either put back Canyon or if we fear taking too much damage. Our opponent's mulliganing aggressively, so I don't know how much I'm supposed to fear about the long game. So I'm going to keep and put back the Canyon for now. Mulligan aggressively generally indicates a combo deck or deck needing specific things. Like, I'm guessing Rhinos? Possibly Cascade? Or some other variant of Cascade, I should say. Could be Amulet, but Amulet doesn't usually play too many fetch lands, so... Oh. Burn Mirror. That's never good when they mulligan before. So... Eidolon, sure. Opponent's at least drawing all heat off the top of their deck. So this is our third Burn Mirror. Opponent with another Eidolon, sure. Willing to take a little bit of damage to do a little bit more damage. A little bit... Alright, and the opponent concedes. Once again, these Roiling Vortexes are pretty pitiful. Do we even have anything for the Burn Mirror? 2 Path Exile, and do we have to bring in Sanctifier? Just to not have Vortex in our deck? Whenever a permanent entering causes a triggered ability to trigger... That's not relevant in this matchup. I guess we could theoretically bring in Firecraft. Could bring in Sanctifier, but that's just so bad. Didn't we bring in Firecrafts? So the reason why Sanctifier is bad in the mirror matches is because it doesn't provide the life gain benefit that Core Firewalker does, and it just requires you to fetch Shock. So I know you're not supposed to keep a one-laner, but it's really hard to turn this hand down, so keeping this one. Turn 1 Goblin Guide? Nope, turn 1 Lava Spike. Okay. Alright, so downside is our hand's going to deal us a lot of damage. Or our lands are, actually. And our opponent has a Searing Blaze, so... Searing Blaze does whatever a Searing Blaze does. We're at 12. Yay. Alright, so much as I don't want to play out our land because of Searing Blaze ourselves, we just go ahead and do this. We're doing a lot of our opponent's work for him. Huh. Yep, double Searing Blaze draw, pretty bad for the home team. So. It's a qualifier for a tournament, so to speak. So, Boros charms us. So taunting. And our land base caught up with us this good game, which is what I was afraid it was going to do. Okay. I mean, I don't know what our opponent's waiting on here. Like, we're legitimately dead. There's no counterplay we can have to whatever our opponent has. Oh, they have Deflecting Palm. Now I understand. Still think they should have used one of those, cracked one of those things and just gone for the kill. Because there's so many things that kill us there, it's almost unreasonable. But that's the thought. I was kind of trying something new this week. 6 lands and a Lava Spike. Guess it's our turn to mulligan. Pretty good hand. What am I putting back here? Feels like it's Goblin Guide or Swift Spear. I guess we'll go with Goblin Guide. Or Swift Spear, I mean. Searing Blaze. Okay. Hopefully our opponent has a creature on 1. Yep, that's kind of what we were hoping for. We're going to do the thing where they're going to do the thing to us next turn, but our creature will have gotten in for 4 damage. So. And our opponent's going to have Lightning Helix. That's terrifying. Do they have a white source? Yes, they do. Okay. So, Searing Blaze hurts a lot. What? Well, that's good at least. Last game of the season, sure. Mahomes is not retiring. Brady's already retired. I was gonna say, Mahomes is like 26 or 27.
Who came back this year?
Brady.
Yeah, he retired again.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, take your headache.
I'm not shaking my head at you. I'm just going, Mahomes is like... You should. They're in your division. Oh. Well, I mean, the Waltons are buying everything else up, so maybe they can buy him up too. Hey, they actually got you a head coach. They traded for Sean Payton. That was the coach that led the Saints to a Super Bowl. He's supposed to be. Maybe he's washed up. I don't know. Alright, and we win with a Boros Charm. Nice. Alright, so we're going to switch to the last version of Burn for the last couple of matches. And this is basically Mardu, but it's basically Bump of the Night, Splash, Lane Line of the Void, Exquisite Firecraft. It's what we're playing, so just strap in and hope it's a good one. I said strap in, not... Never mind.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
I'm considering it, Bobby John. This was kind of a test run because Boros Burn's kind of my speciality, but I was considering doing one like every other week on YouTube. That gives me some time to play decks and really hone them as opposed to just playing them once in a while. Trying to give a focus of a little bit more for the channel, what we're doing. So, not sure what we're going to do in the off weeks, if we're not going to stream every other week, or if I'm going to do maybe, Lobster would be so proud of your speech patterns. Basically, thanks, Dale, thanks. Family references only you and I would get. And Mom, maybe. Maybe Alethan remembers Bob, I don't know. But I do need to remember to switch decks here, or we're just going to play the same deck again. There we go. We had a neighbor called Bob Snyder who started almost every sentence with the word basically.
Oh, you do that a lot.
Thanks, hon. Thanks.
You say that nice a lot.
Well, it sure beats some of the other words you could use in that spot.
Great. Awesome. Maybe
Sometimes nice is my way of swearing, too.
you might not want to let your audience know that because we answer them a lot nice with the word nice.
It depends on the tonation. I am sure they're intelligent enough to figure that out.
I'm not.
Sure you are.
I know that.
You're plenty intelligent enough to figure that out, huh?
Yeah, now you told me. Now I can't figure out what you're talking about.
We're up against MD91.
Get you this shovel.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, you should give me the shovel?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. Pretty sure the shovel's in here anyway.
It is.
Ah. The fun of your significant other being in the other room while you're streaming does make for interesting banter.
24-21.
Nice.
Eagles.
I know.
Okay.
I knew what the halftime score was, even though you didn't tell me.
Oh.
Alright, we're back for match number 7, but match number 1 with this version of the deck. Pretty solid hand overall. The one downside, no opening creature, but do have 15 points of burn, a couple of lands, so we should be able to deploy our spells in a timely fashion. And our opponent leads off on Temple Garden. So... Devoted? No, never mind. Green-White Hammer. So, one of my wife's favorite decks. She has no idea what it does, but she likes the word Hammertime.
Ah! No, I can't touch this. Well, that was stupid of the Eagles.
Yay, I love stupid eagle plays.
You dropped or fumbled the ball. Chiefs picked it up, scored a touchdown.
Judge, when do we get the hammer thingy? Judge. That's a very good point, Dale. I didn't think of that one.
What?
Nice is my version of bless your heart.
Thank you, Dale, for clarifying for me.
Which can be multimodal.
Now I know when you tell me nice that you're blessing my heart.
Oh, bless your heart.
Want to tell me that tonight?
But you're the one that always told me bless your heart was both a good thing and a bad thing.
But what you said it was the bad way.
Oh, I did not know that. My bad. Apparently my intonation was incorrect. So, okay. I could continue to play Duck Duck Goose, but if they have Pure Steel Paladin, we just die. I guess I'm fine with that outcome. Which they could easily go get Springleaf Drum, play Pure Steel Paladin, and then we're dead. So, but I can't just infinitely hold up mana. Hercules, MTG, thanks for the follow. They have Pure Steel Paladin, and now we're dead. Okay, we got Hammertimed. Not that. All right, so we have these 6 cards to bring in. Skullcrack's relevant. Searing Blaze is relevant. Bump of the Night probably not all that relevant. And what other card is pretty middling? Skewer the Critics can be pretty middling here. So possibly we should be boarding out Skullcrack instead. So this is a very deceptive hand. Deflecting Palm should be good against them, but only if they play very, very carelessly. We'll try it, but certainly a hand should probably mulligan. Good evening, Hercules. How are you doing? Alright, opponent leads off on Sigarda's Age, sure. They have no turn 1 play, so we just pass. It's possible I'm also supposed to play some Machinian there, but we're most likely just going to Boros Charm here. Okay. Boros Burn. How is Burn positioned in Pauper? It's been several years since I've played Pauper. Like probably circa 2017, 2018 was the last time I touched Pauper. And I usually tried to play a variant of Burn at least. So if my opponent goes for the kill, they die, but I presume they're smarter than that. Or go, if they try to equip a hammer, I should say. Yep. Sure. So, if our opponent has blue mana and Spell Pierce, this could get ugly, but other than that, I'm a little less scared of the... Sure. I'm a lot less scared of just the Selesnya version than I am, like, either the Bant or the whatchamacallit variant. Opponent got the hammer thingy. Okay. Is this going to be a simultaneous death? I'm not sure how that works. Okay, so they're not firing up Yawgmoth Nexus. That is interesting. Alright. I guess our opponent could have Nature's Claim to get out of this. I generally, Hammer players are smarter than playing directly into this. Apparently that one wasn't. Oh, yeah, Swiftspear being added to the mix, I'm sure helps a lot. Because I know the creatures in the deck were pretty middling before that. It was a uncommon in cons, wasn't it? Yep, confirmed. Alright, so... Skullcrack is such a middling card. It's only good against Shadow Spear. Skewer can target their creatures, but it's more mana inefficient in some spots, so we'll try it this way, but... Well, ironically, I think our opponent could have played around that if they had gone attack with Yawgmoth and equip Hammer. If I recall correctly, I'm not sure in state-based effects who would die there. So if my opponent waits until I Deflecting Palm the construct, and then equips Hammer to Yawgmoth Nexus, I'm at 11 poison. The trigger for Deflecting Palm goes in the stack. I'm pretty sure I'm dead there, because I think state-based effects happen before the trigger from Deflecting Palm does. But Deflecting Palm's weird because I don't think it actually puts a trigger on the stack. It's really a weird situation. But I think that would have been a draw if our opponent had played correctly. So... And thanks, Hercules. I appreciate that. Opponent goes turn 1, give her runes. Sure. So we go Goblin Guide. Opponent has a Pure Steel Paladin. That is terrifying, but they probably already had some way to equip Hammer. Sure. So if they Shotgun and play Pure Steel, okay, Esper Sentinel, Esper Sentinel. So our opponent's going to have all the cards in the world. There's really nothing we can do about that. Opponent's going to have all the good stuff. Like I said, my opponent's going to get to draw all the cards. I think we have to try to kill them before they can do the combo stuff. Whatever. Draw your cards. I know they have Pure Steel and Sigarda's Aid coming. This is kind of a... It's not a wasted attack, but... Depends on if our opponent has more mana. Presumably they do. He got hammered by his own thingy. Yawgmoth is terrifying because it's always a one-shot kill with... Okay, they have Pure Steel. Presumably they have Hammer. They have Shadow Spear, which is even worse. Currently. So they get to swing, gain some life. Attack for 3. I was going to say, you should attack at least with the Esper Sentinel. Because you can always re-equip it to something else. This is where the matchup gets really tricky. Opponent's going to have Blacksmith skill. That's just terrifying. So I have to kill this Pure Steel Paladin now. I'm going to go ahead and pay the tax this time. So pass. So they have Hammer, we're dead. But I can't play around that all game. Because I can go Sigarda's Aid, activating Yawgmoth. Equip Hammer, attack. But it looks like we're going to be playing more of a kind of grindy game with Shadow Spear equips, it looks like. I know they have Blacksmith skill. So we're not going to be able to kill their Esper Sentinel either way here. We know they have Blacksmith skill. We know they don't have Hammer in hand, because otherwise we'd be dead right now. So they have Blacksmith skill, 2 unknowns. Can't really chump block right now, because they'll just use Blacksmith skill to blow us out. I think the best move is just try to attack. I know we're not going to raw damage output more than what they have going on, but... They get to draw a card, which is annoying. It's whatever. Puts them to 10. Okay, did you finally draw the hammer? That was a fun game. Alright. Alright, so we're up against I don't need a name. Solid. Don't need a name. Alright, opponent is ready to roll, so this will be a lot smoother than some of the earlier operations. Alright, back for match number 2 with the Mardu version of Burn. Okay, we got Bump in the Night, we got the Goblin Guide. Seems pretty reasonable overall, so definitely keeping, especially being on the play. So Judge, when do we get to hammer thingy? Judge. Leading on Goblin Guide. Against Yawgmoth. Okay. It's almost like we're checking all the boxes. Okay, opponent gets Birds of Paradise, which we'll probably have to bolt. Or do we? 15, 12, 9. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna get all that stuck in my head, bro. Gee, thanks. Actually, what he's talking about from Billy and Mandy circa whenever is even more likely to get stuck in my head than what does the fox say. Okay, so our opponent has a wall of roots. Ring ding ding da ding da ding ding da ding. ding, ding, ding. Opponent should attack. They don't. Okay. We are not attacking with our Goblin Guide, and we are going to pass. Opponent will have Yawgmoth, which is fine. Fred, almost looked like you said red. Red Burger. Opponent's got a Young Wolf. I am 100% blocking if you attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they could go could cord for Blood Artist. So I kind of might have to leave this bolt up. That would require a very specific set of draws, though. And okay. So actually, let's lead on Skewer. I'll put them to 2. And our opponent just sealed their own fate. Do I bring in Leyline of the Void against the Yawgmoth deck? Or do I just click submit? Does the fox say, ring ding ding to blame my wife on this song being stuck in my head now? Or I could just start saying the Fred Burger stuff, so. I said Fred Burger, not Red Rum. You've been half asleep all day.
I woke up for the first almost 3 full quarters and a halftime show.
Woo!
I know.
Probably been the most awake you've been all day.
But maybe random's going to be coming out. Right? I think over.
Alright, so sand is something. Guess we try it. And immediately draw another land. Seems about right. So the only reason I kept this hand is creature aggression. Now, against most Yawgmoth draws, it's not particularly good, but especially after turn 1, they tend to have billions and billions of blockers, so it's probably going to be Wall of Roots into something else. Guess they could have Strangle Root Geese. Oh, they have Ignoble Hierarch. Interesting. Okay, well, when in doubt, creature it out. Opponent gets a land, gets another land. And it's like the perfect land for what they do. So, opponent is... They play Chalice? Wow. That's something. I mean... It's a magical gathering card. Probably pretty relevant a lot of times in this matchup. So opponent is drawing a card they can no longer cast. So do you just chump block? No. You get a 6. Okay. Pass turn. Them untapping with Blood Artist is admittedly pretty terrifying. Okay, so Yawg. Is that lethal? I don't know. Opponent has a free block. They're going to have to block with Blood Artiste. They have a Boseiju, and just opponent drawing all the lands. Sure. You're really going to risk... Okay. Blood Artist trigger on the stack. Boros Charm. Pretty sure you're dead regardless, dear friend. Because you can't cord for anything. Can't cast anything. And even if you sack both creatures, you only get a 4. So, nice. Ring, ding, 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 ding. Blame my wife for this thing being stuck in my head. Alright. Guess we'll play one more. Hopefully it's a quick match so we can get 3 in for each deck. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. If you are new to the channel, we stream here every Sunday. Generally, it's been Modern content. Thinking about switching it up some to doing Modern and Pioneer alternating weeks. With the idea of doing these deck boot camps to do a little bit more of a deeper dive into some different versions of decks. Rather than just playing a one-of deck here or there. The ultimate goal is the content being more useful to people who are trying to learn decks or understand how decks function. Still trying to flesh out the details. And depends on how patient my wife is with me sometimes, so...
Have the comedy relief.
sometimes.
Even with your reactions, when you think I'm annoying, it's comedic.
For you.
True. I enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Ding 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 da ding da ding ding da
It's
ding.
still in your head.
Indeed, a ding da ding ding da ding da ding ding. What does the wife say? No idea. There's no safe answer.
I love my husband.
I didn't do anything to deserve that this time.
That's what your wife says.
Oh, okay. Alright, so we're up against Swift Workite. I'm glad that's what that said, not something else. Alright, so waiting for my opponent to match with your opponent, Swift Workite. So other than the fact that we've played against Burn 3 different times, we have played against other meta decks. We've played against Yawgmoth, Scam, Murktide, Hammertime, Creativity, and Unknown. So... okay, there we go. Alright, taking a look at this opener. Really won too many lands. We do have 10 points of burn. I think we gotta pitch this one though. This hand's much more interesting. So we either put back Blaze or Boros Charm. I think it's just Blaze. Obviously that's the higher upside card, but... Swept Heath. So, Banthammer? Looks like Banhammer. Life decisions were instantly regretted. So our opponent has a hammer. The only question is do they have a way to equip it? So opponent's got 3 mana? Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay. Is that lethal? 4, 7, 9. Opponent goes to 1 here. Blacksmith skill, that makes life even trickier. Okay, I am, I think, perfectly happy with that exchange. Sure. Opponent gets to kill one of our creatures. That's fine. So now our opponent's hand has... Okay. Shadow Spear is terrifying. So I think we have to go for the kill you line. Yikes. If we'd attacked and they didn't block, they were dead. So I probably should have attacked first, played Searing Blaze after they blocked, and we at least would have had the chance to win. Now, because we didn't draw a land or a additional spell, that was a close one. Possible I should have thought that line a little bit more through there. Blocks, goes to 2. Now they get to play Shadow Spear, gain 4. Oh, that's even worse. Yep. Opponent gets to go to 1. If we'd been more patient, they would have killed themselves. If we would have been more patient, they would have killed themselves. Okay. Go down. Copies of Bump in the Night. Down a couple copies of Skewer the Critics. MTG foil, you know that Mana Traders just gives you whatever, so. In my budget deck. How are you doing? Seems pretty reasonable overall. So, lead on. There's a Saga on 1. So there's a Saga enchantment land. Okay. It's like... Okay, sure. Will do. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, so my opponent goes Giver of Runes. Tap for Haywire Might. And whatever. Sigarda's Aid. Alright. So, go to combat here. Let them block. They are not blocking. That seems really ambitious. I guess we're just dead double hammer. Which is certainly risky for them if they think about the card deflecting palm, but apparently they don't, so. Esper Sentinel. Okay. There's Sigarda's Age, sure. Once again, just gets to draw all the cards. Hold up Skullcrack as a way to play around who knows what. Alright, and our opponent concedes. So if we played better, we could have won game 1. Game 2... I think we got a little bit lucky there. And our opponent did run face first into a potential deflecting palm. So obviously we can't just mulligan for that card, but on the draw it is a consideration. But alright, double smash, Goblin Guide for pressure. Seems like a reasonable hand. Esper Sentinel, sure. I think we're just going to fetch basic mountain. Goblin Guide, go. Yeah, it's an easy keep. It's just a question of... like, Smash is a very reactive card, so... and kind of gets blown out by Blacksmith's skill. Yep, Stoneforge Mystic. Presumably for... I think you have to go for Shadow Spear, don't you? Opponent apparently agrees. Crystal Paladin's terrifying. If I'm my opponent, I block here just to prevent damage, but I suppose they have their reasons. Okay. does have another white source. So, Shadow Spear. Okay. We're not paying here because I want to hold open bolts just to play around pure steel shenanigans. Okay, so they're dead. Got a hammer. Are they dead? Maybe not. So Spell Pierce is a Magical the Gathering card. Well, maybe. So Spell Pierce is a card that we have to be cognizant of. If they have it, we're in trouble. If they don't, then they're dead. Okay, so I think it's an easy attack. Force them to give away something. Because the problem is Blacksmith skill is also a problem. So I'm trying to force them to use a Blacksmith skill here to save a creature. I'm fine with that trade. So, Giver of Runes is fine. Urza's Saga is annoying, but okay. So so bloody close. Nice ending to things. All right, so quick wrap to the various versions of Burn. I can see the draw towards not playing Eidolon. It frees up some spell slots. All right, MTG Foil, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out, man. It frees up some slots in the main deck to have some flexibility. I'm not sold on Inspiring Vantage in that place. Bump in the Night definitely strains your mana base. The alternatives, you can play some more 1-drops like Zurgo or Ragavan. Can play things like Burst Lightning, Seal of Fire. You're kind of limited on what your Flame Rift, etc. Not really sold on the Emrakul, but I understand it's like a one-of for Mill, but I already think Mill's a pretty decent matchup, so I don't know that I would devote a sideboard slot to Emrakul, unless there's some other thing I'm not thinking of that you would want an Emrakul against. But there's no like show and tell or anything in this format, so that makes like no sense to me, other than specifically targeting mill. Leyline, I understand, like if you're expecting Living End, Dredge, I wouldn't really bring it in against Murktide. Firecraft, I can completely get on board with playing some copies. So, sadly, I don't think I have a definitive answer on if you want to play Eidolon or not. Like, there's a lot of matchups I find myself boarding it out. I find myself boarding it out against Murktide on the draw, Hammertime, period, Burn Mirror, Amulet. There's just so many matchups where you find yourself not wanting the card. That said, I think there have been worse metas for it. Ether Vial doesn't really exist much in the format other than Merfolk. It still generally does damage to players, although there are outs like Solitude, Fury, etc. But that kind of goes for every creature. So I'm still kind of on the fence. I think I would have to do like a matchup by matchup breakdown of like where I would want Eidolon, where I'd not want Eidolon, that kind of stuff, to really get a definitive answer on that. Searing Blood, it's a fine card. Not a card I'm ecstatic to have in my sideboard, but it does have a lot of play against Yawg, Hammertime, has play against Devoted Druid making a reappearance, has play against some of the early creatures in both Breach and Murktide, although the creatures can get out of range pretty quickly. Not a fan of that. The copy of Strict Proctor, that's hard targeting Amulet. I just don't think Amulet is a savable matchup, even with a card like that in your sideboard. I don't even think it's worth trying to fight against them. Yeah. So I just don't think, like Tunneling English, Strict Proctor, those cards, I think they're just too narrow. So beyond all that, I think the core of Burn is fine. The Eidolon or not, I still think I'm on the fence, although I generally prefer to have Eidolon in my deck. There are certainly some situations where I can see wanting to get it out of your deck. It can free up some sideboard slots, like with this Roiling Vortex version. I'm still not a huge fan of Vortex being in the main deck against a lot of decks like Murktide, etc. It is awkward in a lot of the same situations. Eidolon's awkward against racing situations. So this is probably the most main deckable sideboard card, other than maybe main decking 4 copies of Exquisite Firecraft. So TLDR, Burn's okay. We played against 6 non-Burn matchups, twice against Hammer, once against Murktide, once against Yawg, once against Scam, once against Creativity. Lost to Creativity, beat Scam, lost to Murktide, beat Yawgmoth, and split against Hammer. I think that's fairly indicative of where Burn's at in the meta. It's a close matchup. I feel like Burn's a dog in a lot of those matchups, and you really have to play tightly and well. As far as the perfect build, I still think I need testing. I'm interested in testing Zurgo as a kind of budget version of Ragavan. It ticks a lot of the boxes that I want to hit. It's not a card I'm recasting. I'm not returning lands to my hand. I'm not completely destroying my mana base to play a 3/3. Really checks all the boxes. Obviously, Ragavan's the better option, but there are some spots where having a 2/2 into attack is better than having a 2/1, i.e. Hammertime against things like Esper Sentinel and such. Obviously, it doesn't have the upside of Ragavan, but we're really not looking to play spells off the top of our opponent's deck. We were just looking for another 1-drop to speed up our clock. So Zurgo definitely is an interesting card to me. So Leyline, rest in peace. really have to target your meta right. Yeah. This has given me a lot of ideas to work with, but I don't know how to articulate them currently. But definitely has given me a lot of ideas to work with Burn moving forward. It was nice to play with some different cards to open up my eyes a little bit and open my horizons a little bit. And it will certainly be something worth exploring in the future. So it's kind of where I'm at. But
By the way, we're tied 35-35 with 1 minute.
nice. But I think with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight, both on Twitch and on the YouTubes. I should spell out what I'm going to be doing with that moving forward. I think I'm going to alternate between this and Pioneer, but we'll see. Got to do some things to shake some stuff up. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight, and it was awesome seeing some people in chat. Now, how much of that was people hanging out? How much of it was Super Bowl and not a lot of people streaming? I'm just thankful y'all were here. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channels. Don't forget to give us a follow over here on Twitch. And I hope y'all have a great evening. Thanks to my brother for hanging out for most of the stream, if not all of it. For my lovely wife, giving her 2 cents worth every 5 seconds. And y'all have a great day.